Hi friends, it's been a while since I gave you a video update, I think about 6 weeks or so, concerning Washington Avenue and the current COVID-19 situation. I don't know that an awful lot of things have changed. It seems that we have new things every day to hear, but at the same time it kind of feels like it's the same old news. The word that I have used over and over to describe the times that we are in is strange. And I would still echo that it is a strange time indeed. Let me encourage you as a believer of Jesus Christ to know that none of this is happening as a surprise to the Lord. And even though if we watch too much news, we can become afraid. It's easy to think that the sky is indeed falling. I'm pretty sure that it's not. And the last thing that our Lord wants us is for us to live afraid of everything. So just find courage in the Lord. And regardless of the headlines, remember that's where our faith is, that's where our hope and our trust lie, that's where all of our promises are held. So regardless of how this thing continues in the future, we're in good hands, and God certainly has our back. That may be the most important thing I can say here. I've made myself a couple of notes because I can forget what I wanted to say. It is a strange time, and we're bombarded with a lot of facts that may or may not be facts. And sometimes we are I think maybe browbeaten with science that may or may not be science. There are a lot of things that maybe are not as they appear to be in this time. We can argue about a lot of different things, and it does very, very little good. I would just tell you that thus far, as we said in the very first COVID-19 update, I think we're going to look back on this thing and find that it was far less serious than we were maybe led to believe that it would be, that it is going to be something that does a lot more damage to our nation and our world collaterally because of the stoppage of work and life and normal rhythms than the death toll from a virus itself. Of course, it's serious. A virus can be serious. This one can be very serious. And if you have underlying conditions, or if you feel like that this would not go well for you, you're very wise to protect yourself just as you would from any virus. That said, there are 30 million people in the state of Texas, and the big number the other day was that 10,000 people had lost their lives from COVID. We're not making little of those 10,000 people, but if you do the math and figure out the percentage, we're not seeing massive, earth-shattering, news-making, change-worthy kinds of statistics. And so we just need to kind of rock along and know that the Lord has this and understand that it is for now kind of our new normal. And I assume that that's the way that it's going to be for a while. In the midst of the new normal, let me mention to you that we as a church feel like it's time to kind of move ahead. We feel like it is time to at least begin to make some plans. We don't know, honestly, what the fall is going to look like. A lot of people, I think, are anticipating that once schools begin, the rate of COVID infections will dramatically increase. And that's very possible. In some ways, that may be exactly what needs to happen because this virus needs to run its course among the population so that we can get on with our lives instead of hiding out and waiting for a vaccine to show up. On the other hand, it probably means there'll be some disruptions, and we don't know what it will mean in terms of dictates from local and state governments. We'll just have to rock with that as it comes. We'll keep you posted, and we'll let you know. Anyway, we are planning to bring some things back online very soon. That makes me really excited because I have missed the vibrant life of our church, and I've just missed so many amazing programs that we're able to offer that bless so many people. I will say, as I try to describe some of these things that are starting back, I will use the word probably more often than once. These are temporary. Some of you are reeling a little bit from the change of what had been normal. And I just want to tell you that nothing is written in concrete forever. Right now, we're having to figure out how to do things within the guidelines that we've been given by the governor. And we're trying to figure out how to be safe while at the same time having a vibrant body life. And so we're moving forward slowly, deliberately, and these changes are not going to be permanent. So if you don't like it, don't worry. They will change again. That said, our plans, and I use the word plan fully framed in the foundation of if the Lord wills, this is what we're going to do, because we don't know. If the Lord wills, we're going to be moving, and it won't be normal, it won't feel like last fall, but it's moving closer to normal, okay? Mid-September, we're going to begin, among other things, an additional worship service. Our worship services now at 9:30 and 11 o'clock are becoming full. We have to space people out a bit, and so we are pretty much maximum in those some weeks. And so we are going to add an 8 o'clock a.m. worship time. We know that's kind of early, but some of you are early birds, and it seems to be the most expedient way to utilize the staff and those who participate in worship on the platform and add some room. I will tell you also, if you are able to come early, if you're able to come at 8 o'clock and are willing to make maybe that sacrifice of getting up a little bit earlier, if you'll come to the 8 o'clock worship service, that will allow more room in the 9:30 and the 11 o'clock worship time. And you can be doing a service to your entire church by helping to alleviate some of the crowding. In addition to the new worship service, we will also be continuing to offer an overflow venue in our fireside room. I know a lot of people think, well, why would I come to church to sit in an overflow room and watch it on TV when I could just stay home and watch it on TV? There's good truth to that. But if you come to the church, number one, you're getting back into the habit of that discipline, which is a good thing. If you come to the church, you are fulfilling God's instructions to us that we meet together, and you're giving yourself the opportunity to see people that are part of your church family in the hallways, coming and going, in the parking lot, and it just is better than the isolation that has occurred so much since March. With 3 services, the chances of you having to sit in overflow are pretty remote, but maybe you prefer a service with less bodies. Maybe you feel safer in that venue. For whatever reason, we're going to offer it. So we hope to have room for everyone. The services will continue to look pretty much the same. We have to follow that track because, again, we're trying to use a minimal number of musicians and stage players to minimize rehearsal time and possibilities of infection. That is part of the governing guidelines to have a limited number of people on the platform. And I know that that probably is not good news to some of you who really, really want to rush back and get into our Saturday night church and our 9:30 traditional church and our 11 o'clock contemporary church mode. Not right now, is what I'll say. Please be patient with us. We're trying to offer something that is something for everyone. Every week we'll have contemporary elements. Every week we'll have traditional elements. And we think there is something that speaks to the different hearts. Please remember that the reasons we come to church is not because the church plays the music that I like. We come to church to worship the Lord because it is about Him. And I have to remind myself it's not about me. I love the way we were doing things before March. And I hope someday that maybe it will look similar to that again, but things have changed now and we have to ride these horses. So be patient with us and come and be a part of the church family again if you haven't. That's at 8 o'clock. The other 2 worship services will be at 9:30 and 11, just as they have been. I'm also proud excited to announce that we'll be resuming Sunday school programming. Some of our classes have already begun kind of testing the waters toward that. In the middle of September, we'll begin pretty much having all of our classes meeting again for adults and most of them for those in younger age groups. And we hope that, again, if you're a participant in Sunday school, you'll get back involved in that and that you will just enjoy regathering with those friends that you've known and been a part of so long. There are opportunities for all ages in Sunday school. And if you've not been doing that, maybe now is a great time. The crowds will be smaller and maybe it'd be a great time to get involved and begin to experience body life here at Washington Avenue at a smaller group level and get to learn even more about the Lord. Sunday school has an awful lot to offer. Kids programming will be coming back online. We're being so extremely careful because we want to keep our little ones very safe, even though they seem to have the least of all demographics to worry about with this virus. But we will be beginning offering services again, both preschool, elementary, and our student ministries. Preschool and elementary will be sending specific information out to families with children within that age group. These programs are going to be still a little bit limited in scope until we figure out exactly how to do all that we're trying to do. But you can be guaranteed that we're going to have a priority placed on cleanliness. Our staff is going to be trained to be very careful, and we cannot wait to have little ones in our hallways again and their families. So be watching for more information about that. Student ministry programs are coming back online soon. They've been moving toward those during the summer with some special activities, and we're looking forward to a great slate of activities from them. Again, if you have kids in middle or high school, be watching for specific information about those programs. I'm also glad to mention that our men's and women's ministries are going to step back into the flow with limited but special programming in those areas. And our Encore program for senior adults, Bob Mink is bringing that back online in mid-September. And that's something that has been just a favorite event of the week for a lot of folks on Wednesdays. It's coming back at you. So we hope that you'll be coming and being a part of that as well. That's just a kind of a thumbnail. We will be sending out more specific information. There'll be some on our website, I believe, as well as in the newsletter that comes out to you. And I hope that you will just double check with different areas that you're involved in. You can make a call, send a text or an email, and somebody will be glad to tell you what is happening. A lot of people keep asking me about masks and distancing. And I would just be quite honest with you, I hate both. I do not like either one of those realities right now. And, I'm still, in my mind, the jury is definitely out in regards to how much we actually need to be doing either of those things. However, in Romans 13, we are told to obey our governing officials unless they are telling us to do something that is sinful. So for now, we will continue to encourage the wearing of masks. When you're at church, we're not going to be militant about that, but we would ask you, if you can, to please do that. It's kind of funny. I've had some people tell me, I'm just not going to come to church if I have to wear a mask. And I've had other people tell me, I'm just not going to come to church if people don't wear masks. So we definitely have both ends of the debate represented in our group. But I will just tell you, for now, we're going to distance. For now, we're going to be careful within reason. We're not letting these things become scriptural to us in their weight, but we are trying to honor the governor's directives. And I, again, echo what I've said before. I'm so thankful we live in Texas. I'm thankful to have a sensible, sensitive governor who has bent over backward not to interfere with the free expression of religion and not to keep churches from meeting and doing what we're called to do. I'm grateful for that. And maybe if nothing else is true, one reason that I'm willing sometimes to wear a mask is because I appreciate our governor and I'm trying to make his job a little bit easier. Anyway, that's what you need to know about those things. The last thing I want to say is something that's been on my heart a lot lately. Let me just encourage all of you to be vigilant in prayer. I would like to call our church to prayer. And we may be offering some special events coming up soon where we can do just that. But I would ask you to be in prayer for all churches. You have a sense of how hard and stressful this has been for us as a church. This is impacting churches all over the nation, in fact, all over the world, in much the same way. So be in prayer for the church. We know that the gates of hell will not prevail against it, and certainly the gates of COVID will not prevail against it. But it's a tough time. And we do not want the enemy to gain stronghold or momentum during this time. We want to learn from this, and we want to come out of it stronger than we ever have been. Be in prayer for churches. Be in prayer about this whole COVID-19 thing. I would pray, and I do pray, that God open the eyes of everyone and that He bring truth to light. I think there's a lot of truth out there, but there's also a lot of misinformation. I think that it's getting very, very hard to know what to believe. And then we move to the other extreme where we believe nothing. And that's dangerous as well. Be in prayer that truth win and that truth come out, and that God will, in His timely way, bring an end to this scare, because we know that He could, in a snap of His fingers, rule COVID-19 out of the picture. There's a reason for it, and we have things to learn. Be praying that we learn them. I would ask you to join me in prayer for our schools, as so many of them are ramping back up right now. We need to be specifically in prayer, not only for the students who are returning, but maybe even more so for the teachers. The teachers in our schools are being asked to do incredibly challenging and difficult things right now. They're being expected to educate kids by a broad variety of means under some of the most difficult circumstances imaginable. Honestly, we've been blessed in our world and our culture that a lot of these things used to be at least much easier than they are now. So be in prayer for our schools, for our teachers, and for our students. And the last thing I'm going to say is, do not stop praying about the election that is coming up. Without getting political here, let me tell you, there's a convention going on this week, and there'll be a different one going on next week. Let me encourage you to be informed. Let me encourage you, because you're smart people, let me encourage you to pay attention to the platforms that these parties are building their approaches and their plans on. And you decide whether you can say yes to the things in those platforms. You decide if those line up with biblical values and biblical teaching. You have to decide. But if we're blind, if we just go wildly ahead based on emotion or what we've always done, or because of our like or dislike for certain candidates, we could be making a serious mistake. So pay attention, and more than that, pray. All right, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your patience. My tongue is just about worn out here, and I still have more of these things to do. I hope that we'll be seeing still more and more of you in the fall as we begin to move forward. Be in prayer that we're able to do these normal things so that our lives can begin to vibrate with the rhythms of consistency again. But be in prayer also that maybe the disruption has taught us and has served to help us be a better and stronger people for Him. Thank you again. God bless you.